What you say you are is what you do and what you have an understanding of it. Many people are not acting like Americans, or if Americans are now acting like what we're seeing, then America is going to hell. I say again, there's nothing wrong with the country. It's a beautiful country. It's what's wrong with the consciousness of people when they're not spiritual. And you look again in history, every time it gets to that where the people become so despotic and so lying and so on and so forth, that country goes down. I'm not warning it. I'm simply saying, watch what history is showing. Another thing, too, I did a lot of research during these dates and times that are happening from April 15th to the 20th.
Yes.
And in history, you go back and something else again. You had Waco, of course, it happened in 419. You had that Columbine killings and stuff like that. That was on the 20th. You had the ORC belt bombings. That was around the 19th. Of course, just recently, you had the West Texas explosion. That's on the 17th. The Boston manhunt and all has been going on from the 18th on back. You've got the Boston bombings, of course, that are going on. Also, Hitler's birthday, the sinking of the Titanic. It just goes on and on. These dates are something else, man.
They're just coincidences. They just happen to go that way.
No coincidences. You know the end of that marathon run? The address there was 666 Boylston Street.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, these are not coincidences. We're being prophetically shown of something that is going on in our country that only everybody's going to be able to make choices, because everything is going to be made crystal clear. And of course, it takes a long time to clear crystal unless you grow it. But yes, these things are very diabolic. These things are not at all what's happening in truth. And believe it or not, there have been 65 earthquakes and tremors over the last 48 hours, including some volcanoes going off underneath the Atlantic Ocean, which, let's pray, don't hit the surface, because it could produce a tsunami that could hit easily the East Coast. We're under attack for more than just what we think we are.
Yeah, it's funny that, it's not funny, but we are witnessing it and not realizing we are in the middle of somebody's big game plan. I remember, I think it was Clinton's Secretary of Defense, William S. Cohen, who made the statement that about eco-terrorism, and for those unfamiliar with that term, it's alleged that there are rogue nations or rogue groups that have the ability to manipulate weather and to cause earthquakes, like you said. I know they had several pictures where they had the sinkholes, like most recent major one in the news down in Florida, where the guy was in his bedroom, and next thing you know, giant-sized circle swallowed him up, and his family didn't see him after that. So there is something definitely going on afoot, so to speak. And you mentioned about prophecy. Apparently we're watching something called Exo Vaticanus. You may or may not be familiar with that, with the new Pope Francis. And okay, now there's another guy kind of in a similar field to you, but he's more like an evangelical Christian, and he believes the prophecy that we're at the final Pope. And the guy that's in office now, Pope Francis, Benedict stepped down, and he's supposed to be the ushering in the Antichrist, or the one that's supposed to be sitting in place of the one the Jews call Yeshua, or in Islam they call the Mahdi, or in Christianity they say Jesus Christ. To make a long story short, supposed to be the ushering in of alien beings coming to the earth. And I know that's kind of the field that you like to play in, arena play in. But just to the prophecy part about there's no coincidence. When Francis came in, the Vatican was struck twice by lightning. And on the day that he was announced to be his surname being Bergoglio out of Argentina, he was a big time football or what we could say soccer in the U.S. a big time member there. As far as when it comes to synchronicity or macro syncs, his ID card for being a member of the soccer team was 88235 on the day that it was announced that he was the Pope. The lottery over in Argentina was the pick 4 was 8235. So once again, I wonder if that's a coincidence or that's a sign from heaven. But I wanted to try to mix a little, I won't say humor, but try to lighten up the load, and so to speak, with this really heavy situation that we're dealing with. But with regards to the whole Exo Vaticanus, dealing with the whole idea that in Mount Graham over in Arizona, it's supposed to be a dimensional doorway, and that's where the Lucifer Project is. For those who are not familiar with that, that's a big telescope that allows people that run that, astronomers, to see into the infrared. So that'll animals seeing that type of spectrum of realm, but we see just normally in the 3D realm. So with all the movies from The Arrival with Charlie Sheen to Will Smith and Independence Day, it's quite possible, according to this final pope, according to this prophecy, that we're on the verge of seeing something extraterrestrial. I know for the past 30 years, from Gene Roddenberry, from the Star Trek theme, and with George Lucas and Star Wars, we've been prepared to come to the understanding that we're not quite possibly not the only ones alone. And maybe all the stuff that's happening with the geoengineering and terraforming of the earth, with all these earthquakes, maybe something is preparing to make themselves known. I know that in the Bible, like you said, the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, they talk about these ancient gods coming back, and maybe quite possible we may be witnessing. Do you have anything to address or add to that, Dr. Blair?
Well, I think you covered it quite thoroughly, my brother.
Oh, I appreciate that.
You went on a tear there again, and I love it because it means you're speaking from the heart. Yes, I still have something to add to that. On my website, we had a picture of the strike there at the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican, so that we had it on my page. Up on our website, we still have, although we changed things today. I don't know whether the guy that handles my tech guy is taking it down, but we had it up for almost a week now again. We had the picture of the new Pope, of course, Francis, of course, of Assisi, because he was very humble and so on. But someplace, either in the Sistine Chapel or someplace there in the Vatican, I've never been in the catacombs of the Vatican or the upper stories either. But he's sitting in a room, and above him is a picture of Baphomet.
Now, for those, before you go further, for those who, for the few that do not know who Baphomet is there a way that you could describe that?
Let me finish. I'm going to explain the whole thing.
Pardon me.
Yeah, and it's up on my website, like I said earlier. We put it up there so people can see. It's nothing to say about it because it'll speak for itself. Baphomet is a goat god, and that's why I tell people do not call their children
kids.
You have child. A kid is a sacrifice to the goat god Baphomet. And they have college professors. They use the word kid. Now, children hardly ever comes up.
I know, that's true.
Never comes up. Human beings and womb man and man and womb man and man woman, or whatever you want to call it, one in the womb, we have children. A goat god means a sacrifice. And you sacrifice to the goat god Baphomet, who has horns. The pictures of Lucifer and the devil have taken from that. Now, here is your Pope sitting beneath that. And then above the head of Baphomet, they have hands coming up as though it's creating a new being. Now, you tell me what that's all about. And then when you're looking at all of that going on again, you still have, at the same time, you have these pictures again of, what can I say, these new creatures that are coming out. Everywhere you go now, they're talking about zombies. They're talking about mutations, so on and so forth again. And they're getting it set up for the shots. You can go in, I'm going to ramble a little bit more on that one now. You can go into Walgreens, Walmart, whatever it is again, CVS again. And when you go in there, if you get your shot first, now they want to call it vaccine sometimes they just call it just that, a shot. They'll give you 22 to 24% off your groceries. They're really worried about you that much? Your discount for that one? Or you can go back and put 50 hamburgers for a penny. Okay, 6 hamburgers for a penny. Now they're talking about...
That's crazy, Dr. Blair.
...in there, horse, I'd rather eat a horse under these cows. Now, but human DNA that you're eating, remember the movie Solid Green? Man, this thing is getting so clear that anybody who's not a fool has got to say what is going on. And they need to get very humble now because this planet is going through some changes. This empire is about to be overthrown. And I don't care what they say. They know they're wrong and they know that they're in deep trouble. Now they're going to make everybody else suffer the trouble that they have caused.
It's funny. Vonda had a question to ask you, Dr. Blair.
I don't know. Can you hear me from this microphone?
No, he's got soft of it. He was hard. You was loud. You're soft.
All right, I will come over there.
I ain't better, whatever you just did.
Okay, yeah, it sounds crazy when you said the...
you get the discount on your groceries.
The discount on your groceries if you get a vaccination shot.
That's right.
So that's the way they're trying to lure them in?
Of course. Of course they're trying to do that. And also, you know, I've been at this so long, but I get in the point, you know, when these babies now are being born in these hospitals, unless you sign a disclaimer and really stick by it with a lawsuit or something like that, they'll give that child 7 shots, including 2 chips, which are now, can be audio chips, in that first 3 days it's in there. And why would you ever get a newborn baby hepatitis C? You see, we don't understand. And some of these ignorant parents and these scared parents, their child comes in here, you know, you got walk-ins coming in there now. You got very advanced children. You got crystal children coming here. Now many of the children, not most, are coming with autism. They don't get to autism till they take them damn vaccines with alcohol, with formaldehyde and mercury.
Yeah, and squalene.
Yeah.
Now, when you say walking.
Now, yeah, I was going to say that. Me and Vonda were in the same vibration. For those who are unfamiliar with that term, walk-in, what is your definition of walk-in?
Well, a walk-in, I'd rather not say a walk-in. A walk-in is when you kind of...
Yeah, I know what it is, too, but we were just for the entertainment, I don't want to say entertainment, for the educational purposes of the radio program. For the listening audience, it may not... Yeah, me and Vonda are very much familiar with it. If you choose not to mention walk-in, I'll do it for you. My opinion from...
That's what it is. You're asking me, you don't underrate me. I've been...
I'm sorry. I'm not. That's not my attempt, so don't take it that way. Don't take it that way.
No, I understand that. A walk-in, I understand what it is. But what I meant to say, and if I said walk-in, I want to change it. I'm talking about you now have people that are children that are being born that are crystals. They are coming from, like their old souls coming back in here incarnated. They waited for this time to come in. They're coming from all over the galaxy, if you want to, various systems like that. And there's another term that they use too. Now I forget what it is. But yeah, but walk-in, of course, is one that usually when a person is sick or comatose, they get a walk-in and they'll change places with them. But these children are coming through the birth canal, and because they're coming in with psychic power, because they're coming in with ideas in their mind to make inventions once they get here, this government, authorized by the people, is killing them off or putting them into figure patterns or putting chips into it where they can be controlled. This is what I'm saying. They are afraid of the new children coming in, the children with these powers like they show in the movies, because they don't want them here, because they'll overthrow them. This is another, that's all I was saying.
Oh, I understand that. Like I said, once again, I wasn't. I know that you've been doing this a whole lot longer than me, so I didn't want to come off offensive as if you didn't know what the definition of walk-in was. So
no, we were just saying we knew what it meant, but for the listening audience, can you explain?
He just did though. But yeah.
And you just did. We were actually just flowing with you.
Yeah, I understand. I just want to make sure, as I say again, and because your voice fades in and out, I guess mine probably is doing the same thing to your audience. So,
far, you're coming in pretty good. So we haven't touched any raw nerves as of yet. We might be bordering it, but
well, that's good.
Yeah. Now you mentioned about zombies earlier, and I guess about a year ago we had the big, allegedly the bath salt thing where the guy ate the guy's face in a zombie. Now I came across an article from Sandia National Laboratories, and they said that zombie cells perform better after the mammalian or the flesh-type creature has died. So they've been able to make the, says here, mammalian zombie cells have been developed by the researchers at the University of New Mexico that function better after death. Scientist Brian Keir of Sandia National Laboratories revealed what appears to be the first public distinction made between a mummy and a zombie cell. The reported zombie cells are made from free-floating mammalian cells, and their organelles are embalmed in silicate acid. These zombie cells bridge biology and chemistry and work better in adverse conditions after death. The public reason for making zombie cells is unclear, but time will tell why the zombie cells were really created. What do you think about that, Dr. Blair?
Well, you know, the ancient ones, again, in Egypt and so, that built pyramids, and pyramids is still the best shape and device for anything using electronics or using sound or light on the planet. And that's just what Russia did when they had their weather-making machine, because they shaped theirs like a cone, a pyramid, which is 5 times more effective than anything else. But getting away from my original point, you find that where they had mummies and so over there in Egypt and other places they have in Meroe, Chichen Itza, places like this, they found that they had these cells or eviscerated things in canoptic jars. And they said, well, first of all, why did they save them and no good? Well, what they're finding out now, you can take one cell and reproduce anything you want from that cell, its own kind. So if you needed a replacement, well, this went on in time, as I say, when they understood what they call astral flight, when they understood that the body could, the soul could leave the body, but they wanted to come back to the body. So if a part was missing when they came back, they could regrow it. But now they're talking about stem cells. Now you're talking about zombie cells. They've taken things that should be good and helpful, and of course there's always a negative way to use it and always a positive way to use it. So now what do they want to do? They want to cause living death. Who would do this except for aliens or extraterrestrials or those who want the planet to go descending and rather than ascending? And that tells you the answer right now. our planet is controlled. There are those who serve them that are called Illuminati. They have a whole different means of worship. They worship these devil gods, if you want to call them. And now they're even trying to make the church adapt that by explaining it. And also, too, if you go to Arizona, they have one of the biggest telescopes around that the Vatican owns. In fact, they have two.
Yeah, called the Lucifer Project, the Lucifer telescope.
All right, there you go again. And like I said, this goes to the church, and that's the Catholic Church. And what does it say? I forgot this Garibaldi, whatever this other person was as a spokesman for the Astronomical Society.
Yeah, Garibaldi, something like that.
Yeah, and they're saying now again that they're willing to welcome their brothers from space. In fact, they will baptize them. I thought to myself, you mean they've already baptized you? So they're already preparing you with what they already know. The only naive people out here are people who would only listen to one channel or would spend most of their time watching Lil Wayne and Gaga and Rihanna and all the rest of it again. Unfortunately, there are many of those. Other than that, everything is being revealed. It's just a matter of how open are you to get the revelations and can you handle it. Remember that thing from the Few Good Men?
Oh, yeah. You can't handle the truth, huh?
There you go. Most people can't.
That's funny. It's funny you say that. One more thing to stick on that whole zombie idea. Also, with the 3D printing, now they have the ability. For those who are not familiar with 3D printing, first let me state that we're in an age from going beyond the Xerox machine and the copier. Now there are certain materials that can be used to make it so you can make, if you took a AutoCAD drawing of a drinking cup, for example, and you could run it through the computer, and the computer will go through a machine, and the machine over a few minutes will make a drinking cup. Now they're able to use certain material. When you mentioned about the Egypt and the pharaohs and them storing things in a jar, they could take that DNA and reanimate it, so to speak, and use a 3D printer to make it right in there doing ears and kidneys and things of that nature. So it's a matter of time when they start making bones and things of that nature. And the guy, his name is, he wrote the book Singularity, and he helped Stevie Wonder when it came to blind or sight. His name, Ray Kurzweil, that's the name I was seeking for. And they're looking for singularity where man and machine, where machine has surpassed man. Kind of like the whole Terminator type of situation that we're approaching. So from your experience and the people that you contact and may not necessarily talk to, what do you think would be a best defense or good defense for people that are purebred, I won't say humans, but mankind and womankind to help us in light of what's on the precipice or the threshold, so to speak?
Well, I say one thing, it's a pleasure to hear you talk and to hear your mind work because you're using your mind as well as your brain. Most people are being misinformed and miseducated using their brain. And what do they tell them in the first place? Use that left brain, don't ever try to access the right brain. If it's not logical, it doesn't exist. And of course, if you can't see it, feel it, and hold it, it doesn't exist. Well, that means you don't exist because your soul you can't hold your breath, and you can't hold your life force. So it's again, I don't know how you got past that programming, brother, but I'm so glad that you.
Thank you. I think I might be a pre-crystal, maybe an indigo or something.
Yeah, well, there you go again. But yeah, the things that they're doing now are definitely two ways to it. And again, the programming and the kind of the things. Well, let me put it like this. Now, my belief is that we were a third-dimensional planet for the longest. And you can't get too much lower than that. In fact, I don't want to know what a first and second dimensional planet is. This is as low as I ever want to go. And now, this planet supposedly has been granted the right of dispensation. You say, who granted? Well, I believe in the Creator. I believe in the first cause. And stated this planet has suffered long enough with these daggone aliens here, with all this low vibrations. So the planet's been granted the right to go from kindergarten to grad school, to go from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. And that's why a lot of this hullabaloo and a lot of these earth changes are happening. And of course, the guidance of all planets is the sun. And that's why when the sun puts out perturbations, the sun puts out solar flares and like this, that means that every time it hits that, the planet needs that, and the planet expands its consciousness. The planet needs that to grow and to expand. Therefore, if you, and I call this nothing but mitochondria, by the way, and I don't think we're very much at all, but in order for us to stay on this planet, we now have got to expand our consciousness. And most of our consciousness is up there in the hypothalamus, is up there near the pineal gland. And the pineal gland controls what do you want to call it, it's another one there. And rather than that, so what's happening is now our whole brain is adapting. As long as you can secrete melanin, you can adapt faster. And what are they finding out now? Black holes. dark matter.
Right.
He said that there's an Oort cloud into this galaxy we're going into, which they're referring to as the Milky Way galaxy. Well, now it's going. He said we were already part of it. So obviously, the ignorance is now moving aside. If we were on the fringes. Now we're going to go deeply into the Milky Way galaxy. And right in there is this Oort cloud, which is dark matter. So if 3/4 of this galaxy we're going into, and by the way, for those who don't know or do know, just to say we're on the right page again, they call it the Milky Way galaxy because there's so many suns, it looks just like a stream of milk.
Right.
So around those suns are planets. That means we're going into an area where there may be billions, if not trillions, of new planets. And this is why they're discovering new planets now. They're getting rid of Pluto because our Earth is going to higher dimensions. So we couldn't see it before because we were so low in vibration. And this is now we get the opportunity for the planet to see more. We get the opportunity to expand consciousness. That's why the people are taking the gold, the people are blocking all this radiation, the people are stopping all these vaccines from animals and pests and parasites and all. They can expand consciousness too. And especially if we have melanin. That's another thing now why melanin is under attack. And I know that's a whole different atmosphere. But it's just a pleasure to hear you talk and to see the realms that you were going through. Because most thinking people and spiritual people can feel the change. People are seeing shadow people. In fact, I predicted, and it's happening already, people are going to be stopping in the middle of an intersection. They're going to be stopping on green lights because they're going to get distractions. They're seeing shadow people out the corner of their eye when you look into other dimensions. Everything is changing. And if you can get the good stuff into your body, and not all this evil stuff and these low vibrating things, you can expand too. So it's a matter now of choice. Until they force you to line up, put your hands behind your back and shoot you, that's one thing. And for that, they will pay dearly. But right now, it's the people volunteering through ignorance. They don't know what they're doing, and they take it these blank-to-blank shots. And if you look at the obesity that's happening when people around here too, you can see everything they're giving us has nothing to it. Genetically modified everything. So as I say, I could go on and on with this, but you feel me. I hope your audience does too.
Oh yeah, I definitely feel you. And we do feel you. Once again, the time is going by so quickly. I have to do a station ID break. This is WPEB 88.1 FM here in Philadelphia. My name is Shema'yah. I'm in the studios with Vonda, Kline. Our special guest is Dr. Delbert Blair. And we have to go to another break. Dr. Blair, would you mind holding on for a few moments longer? Before we do that, in the event that I don't foresee us getting disconnected, but in the event that we do, please give your information, your contact information before we go to break.
Yes, the phone number is 708-422-6685, 708-422-6685. The wide world web, www.themetacenter, that's short for Metaphysical Center, push2.com. That's www.themetacenter2.com. Once you get there, you hear my beautiful voice and ugly picture saying hi to you. This is the Metacenter. So that's it right there, and I thank you for letting me get that in before you took the break.
Are you quite welcome? Please hold.